What's up, Starcraft fans? You're watching a co-op Mutation. I am CTG. Today we're doing bad weather on Rifts to Core Hall. So we'll do Nexus co-op, which means custom arcade Nexus co-op, create lobby, start game, wait for the loading screen. Again, pick the map. We'll do Rifts to Core Hall. We'll have Void Rifts and Twister. Twister is the red one, right? Yes. So we will do Overmind this time. Overmind, of course, a basic or a Starcraft I Zerg character. We'll use Leviathan cooldown for this, so we can actually. I don't think I did use. No, I did use Leviathan cooldown. I wanted to use the Leviathan because Leviathan is a really powerful unit, a really powerful hero that I can just kind of use to clear everything. Well, I used Zerg evolution cost and rate so I can get the upgrades out faster, and elite charges cooldown so I can get more of those. I went for Phantom Lisks and the Brood Guardians here. So yes, I need a lot of air and I need a lot of charges of those guys. So let's start the replay, and Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Rifts to Core Hall is the map where we have to destroy 10 void shards before timer runs out. Each set of void shards we destroy adds time and reveals the next set. Void rifts spawn every 90 seconds. They continuously spawn enemies until you get overwhelmed or you destroy them. Tornadoes roam the map and throw your guys in random directions.
Okay, so Zero, once again, is on the Cold Water stage. Zero, how are you doing?
I am doing fine.
Okay, so let me give a brief overview of what I know about the Overmind. The Overmind uses Zerg units, of course, you can see. So you spawn with the actual Overmind in the main base. And you have two types of units generally. You have the basic units, which spawn out of the Overmind. You can make Zerglings, Hydralisks, Mulisks, Ultralisks, Devourers, and Guardians. So those are the basic guys, and they have timed life. They cost only minerals, I believe. Do they cost only minerals, or do some of them cost gas?
They cost gas in the early game, but later on you get an upgrade, so they only cost minerals.
Oh yeah, and then they have the timed life, so you have to use them basically right away before they expire. And for that reason, I don't like using them on bad weather or on Rifts to Core or on Void reputations. You need a lot of sustain. You need to gain value continuously throughout the game, which is why I prefer getting the second type of unit, the hero Zerg. They will basically allow me to get sustained damage and sustained value later on in the game. You can see the enemy is Protoss, by the way. So another thing that the Overmind has are the 3 Cerebrits. You can deploy them one at a time, or one after the other. First, I chose to go with, I believe this is Zaz. The first one is Zaz, right?
I do not actually know. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, Zaz.
Okay, yeah, Zaz allows him to spawn these Banelings and the Scourge at intervals. And you can get upgrades to increase the number of units to spawn and later allow them to drop directly onto the field. So basically call down the Scourge and the Banelings. That's pretty helpful. And then later on I can get the other two Cerebrits, which I believe are called Dagoth and Arach. I believe we did have Zaz and Dagoth as characters in StarCraft 1. I do not believe I have met the other Cerebrit, the Arach one, in StarCraft 1.
He's the Cerebrit you play as.
So Arach is the Cerebrit in
the one control.
Okay, so that's news to me. I didn't know that before. So when you play as the Zerg in the StarCraft 1 campaign, you're the one who gets control of Kerrigan, right? The entire StarCraft 1 Zerg campaign, or yeah, the original StarCraft 1 Zerg campaign. That's Arach apparently. I didn't know that until now, but now I do. So anyway, enough about that. So we're back in the game. It's actually well underway already. So you can see my main objective in the early game is to knock out the rift as early as possible. I need to actually destroy these so that I don't get overwhelmed. Because as Brian mentioned, the void rifts continuously spawn enemies until I get overrun. Completely over. Unfortunately, China's had to actually do some work there. Destroy that one marine. But that's fine. Anyway, I got Zerglings. You can see these have timed life. I need to use them to destroy the rocks early so I can get my expansion. I think getting expansion is pretty important here because I'm going for very expensive units, aka the Phantom Lisks and the Brood Guardians. So what do you think of how I'm playing this so far?
So far looks good. Pretty much what I would have been doing.
Yeah, I would have also just run my Scourge straight into the tornadoes. Yes. Okay.
I mean, there's nothing else to do with them. There's no area units right now.
Yes. That's true. So right now I have 2 Zealots whacking the Dagoth Cerebrit. By the way, the Dagoth Cerebrit's power is to call down the special Zergies that I mentioned earlier. This is where I will actually get my units from. I will not get a lot of units from the Overmind itself. Oh, by the way, I have now deployed the Leviathan. You can see the Leviathan just spawns so many air locusts and destroys the enemies by continuously shooting Yamatos at them. It's really powerful. And I actually like clearing this central area very early as well against Void Rifts, because the Void Rifts tend to spawn in areas where there are not a lot of clumps of enemies. So when I clear this central area, it will increase the chances that the Void Rifts spawn over here, which is good for me because it's more accessible than having to fly to the corners of the map just to drop these Banelings and Scourge. By the way, my primary strategy for dealing with the Void Rifts right now is to just drop Banelings right on top of them and destroy them before they get to spawn anything. So I fly my Scourge into the first Void Rift right away.
Okay, commanders.
Meanwhile, while that's happening, I'm saturating my expansion. By the way, it's a hive, so I don't get hatchery and lair. I go straight to hive as Overmind. That's pretty neat. So the first set of 4 Voiders will spawn soon. By the way, I have finally gotten the Arak Cerebrit, and with Arak I can deploy these creep colonies, which will allow me to morph them into spine crawlers, and rather sunken colonies, basically sunken colonies, and spore colonies. And apparently I just ignore this rift. Okay, never mind. There it is. Yes, I actually do have to put static defense on my ramp because they do tend to run up there. I will put static defense on the main ramp, but for now my priority is defending these immortals, which will do a lot of damage. So I've deployed 2 sets of Phantom Lisks. So they will be my primary unit here alongside the Brood Guardian. You can see the Sunken Colony already doing a lot of work here. And that's pretty good for me. I did, by the way, you have to bear with me for a little bit. I did forget to get the upgrade. I know there's an upgrade for the Sunken Colony that allows them to deal more damage or shoot an extra attack at the very least. But I did forget that at this moment in time, so you'll have to forgive me for that. Other than that,
Yep.
I'm just scrambling right now to reach the Void Rifts, which are all around the map. There are now 6 active Void Rifts that I have to close, or else I will get overrun. Just completely overrun. You can see why Void Rifts are such a hectic mutation. There are 2 Zealots and 3 Zerglings destroying my entire mineral line, and I had to use a Leviathan just to clear those guys and restabilize on the field. So there's another Void Ray, a bunch of Zealots, or a bunch of Zerglings, and a Zealot just completely destroying my defenses here. And yeah, my priority right now is stabilizing. I have so many rifts to close. Does the Overmind have an option to teleport to, for example, this far rift over here?
I believe the Mutalisks have the ability to, like, not like full-on teleport, but basically dash there very quickly with their other ability.
I believe the caveat on that ability is that the path has to be unobstructed. And I know there are a lot of air blockers here on this map. So I'm
That
not
still
sure.
helps you get them very quickly.
Well, I guess. I wouldn't trust that though personally, because as you can see, there are a lot of stuff to manage. There are a lot of moving parts in this mutation, and when I multitask, I prefer to just send a unit to go on its merry way, and I go to micro or something else. And if I get blocked by this, for example, this tower over here, I will forget all about the Mutalisk and then lose it, which is why I don't like that method very much. Though that being said, yes, you're right. That is in fact one of the ways to do it. By the way, there's no Void Ray harassing my expansion, and the Scourge. See how hectic this is. The Scourge was right there. It was ready to snipe the Void Ray, but there was so much stuff going on. I'm currently trying to clear the Void Rifts. By the way, I dropped more creep colonies here. The creep colonies are very good because you can drop them directly onto the field. But yes, now there are 7. I believe there are 7 active Void Rifts on the map. I have to clear them quickly. Again, I have to clear them quickly, or else I will get very much overwhelmed. This Void Rift has been at the back of my base for a long while now, but I think I've put down a lot more static defense at my expansion, just to keep control. What more tips do you have for me to make this mutation less of a headache to play? Because
So
as you can see,
take a few
yeah,
drones and place just hives around, so you can deploy units like automatically on the field, close to the rifts, instead
actually-
of having to run from the base.
that's actually good feedback. But
Got an enemy attack.
as you notice, I don't really make anything out of the hives. I just
Yes,
kind
that's
of
kind of an issue also.
sorry.
That's kind of an issue also. You have a lot of minerals, you can definitely be spamming some Zerglings or Mutalisks.
That's true. I could do that, but I knew that was an option for me. I did do that in one of my practice runs, but I chose not to because again, I just think the special Zergus are that much better, and I think they do gain that much more value instead of getting temporary units. Is that choice okay, or do you think it's just better to get the temporary units? Because you heard
the
my
choice is
reason.
okay,
The choice is
but
okay.
you're floating a lot of minerals anyway, so you're not losing out on much by making units the temporary ones.
Maybe you're right, but I do. Yeah, I'm not pulling all the gas. So you mentioned earlier that the Overmind has an upgrade to make the basic units cost only minerals. Where can I get that upgrade?
Arak.
Arak. So it's probably the second one. Is it the first one or second one?
Yeah. The first one, the larvae one.
Ah, that's neat. Okay, so I put down a bunch of creep colonies here on the Earth Splitter area and turned them into sunken colonies, so I can just snipe all the voiders that'll spawn here. They tend to spawn here a lot, so I just put some stuff there to deflect them. Because there are a lot of tornadoes on the map. But I am starting to get a pretty significant army over here. I believe I have... How many is that? 9 Phantom Lisks and 5 Brood Guardians, which I think are pretty good. So I've been clearing a lot of the center. That will allow me to just force all those Void Rifts, those future Void Rifts, to spawn at the center. Which, let's see. Well, 2 of them do. One of them forced itself to spawn in the Earth Splitter zone, and it was taken care of by my static defense, so that's neat. Meanwhile, more static defense doing its work at my expansion. There's another Void Rift here at the very corner of the map at the second bonus area. And by the way, this one rift has been active for the past 10 minutes. It's just been been spawning units non-stop and throwing it at me. So I kind of need to go at it soon. Otherwise, I might actually get overwhelmed. By the way, what does the second... If you notice my Greater Spire back at the main base, there is one upgrade for the Guardian that I have not gotten around to upgrading yet. What does it do?
So the broodlings, when you throws them on death, they will explode, and the explosion reduces the sight radius and, I believe, range of units it hits.
So it's not like a bailing type thing. It's more like a debuff type thing.
Yes.
That's really neat. So once again, I use the Leviathan. This is why, by the way, this is why I chose the Leviathan Mastery over the other one. It just clears. Look at it. Look at it go. It just clears. Unfortunately, it does lose its attack command. It does lose its move command after it gets thrown out by the tornado. And it leaves a trail of locusts just to clear everything that happens to be in its way. Also, I'm not sure at what point I will just kind of go for the objectives. But at some point, I will just kind of give up on trying to snipe all the Void Rifts and fly all around these tornadoes. Because as you notice, my units don't all move at the same time or at the same speed. So right now, I'm just trying to focus on moving my Phantom Lisks to where I need them to be. This one spawns right at my static defense. That's pretty easy to reach. I drop more Bailings here at the rifts. Clear that. By the way, I dropped more static defense here at the third set of shards because I know once I clear this, rifts will also spawn there. So the fact that I have these sunken and spore colonies over here will make my life easier with less running around and stuff. You can see the base not quite able to finish off this Void Rift, and that will be very annoying for me to deal with. It actually is very annoying to deal with right now. But as you can see, my army is very strong. I'm actually nearly maxed out. Do the regular Zerg units cost money? That's something I actually never learned.
Wait, money?
Oh, sorry, supply.
No, they don't.
Yeah, maybe that's something that could have augmented my forces. So now I'm maxed out. The Overmind max is at 100 supply. And they probably could have supplemented my pushing force with a bunch more basic units. But you can see my static defense paying dividends right away. It took care of basically three of the Void Rifts. Oh, sorry, 2 of the Void Rifts. And now all I have to do is snipe the other ones. Okay, that's cleared. So now I have a little bit of time before the next rift spawn, which is basically go time for me. I have to destroy as much as I can of the enemy's defenses and make it easier for me to push back here later on. What's the biggest point for improvement so far? Aside from, oh well, yeah, I guess the biggest point for improvement is spend my money making the temporary units. I actually didn't know. I actually forgot that they didn't cost supply. So what else do you think is my biggest point for improvement?
So definitely the hatcheries around the map would help getting to the rifts, because you wouldn't have to split your main force as much.
That's true. That's probably something I could have done. And then what else?
So definitely getting the attack and armor upgrades. That's what you're missing right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. Although that being said, I think my forces are plenty strong, even without the upgrades.
Definitely.
You're right. The attack and armor upgrades will make me stronger, but like, it's not like I'm too weak to to just finish off this mission. My goodness.
Let's say for the early game, the elite Zerglings would also do good for the rifts.
That's true. I chose not to go for it here. I chose not to go for the elite Zerglings. Mostly because I didn't really want to take away from my economy. So there's a lot of balancing that goes on. And my choice, instead of going for the Zerglings, was to just power up my economy. And I know there's a trade-off for that. It makes me weaker. It makes my pushing force weaker early game. But I think I did pretty well in my choice. I don't think that choosing to go for early economy over get early Zerglings was a bad choice, especially with how the game turned out. Artanis did have to run out a few times to destroy a trickle of units that were coming to him, but for the most part, I think I did defend this base. So, again, the biggest points for improvement are spend my money on those supply-free temporary Zerg units when I'm starting to float money. But my only concern was that I didn't want to run out of resources for my permanent units. The Phantomlists and the Broodguard, which as you can see are really good. I didn't really need to. I didn't really need to uh, remake a lot of them. They just kind of last the entire game. That's why I chose to go for that mastery. And the second point for improvement was put hatcheries on, or put hives all around the map. They're not hatcheries, they're hives, so that it's quicker to reinforce against the void rifts. But there's a counterpoint to that. You notice that not that I'm saying your advice is not useful, but I think it is useful. But you notice that there's so much stuff going on the map that I wasn't really on top of spotting my extra Banings and Scourge and spawning my extra creep colonies. Do you think hatcheries are superior to place down on the map instead of the free banelings, free creep colonies?
Well, throughout the whole game, you only have to place down like 4 hatcheries, or I guess hives in this case, and that'll be it. You don't have to like consistently keep placing them, unlike spores and banelings.
That's true.
So,
Where would you put the hives? If you mentioned you only need to put down 4, where do you put down the 4 hives? So one's at the expansion. Where are the other 3?
so I'd say one to like where the first shard was, and then I guess the others where the second set of shards was, and that should cover most of the map.
Okay, there's an
Right
issue I
in the
have with
middle.
that. Tornadoes are a thing in this mutation, and I mentioned early on that how I like to multitask is I just send the units on their merry way, and I kind of forget all about them, so I can focus on the next thing. With tornadoes all around the map, I'm almost guaranteed that those drones will never reach the spot where they have to build the hatchery, because they will get thrown around and they will lose their command, or they'll get destroyed. So that's good advice, but I don't think I'm at the skill level where I need to be to micro those drones to get to where they need to be, or remember to keep sending drones until I get the hatcheries actually set up. So yes, that's good advice. That's something I definitely can, or I definitely have the option to do, but I don't think I have the skill to actually do it, or at least to actually get my stuff there. Remember to keep sending drones and or micro them until they do reach that spot. So what else do you think I should improve on?
Of course, getting the upgrades from some of your cerebrates, you
Oh
missed
yeah, that's
some
true.
pretty important ones.
That's true. I did neglect some of the Cerebral upgrades, specifically the one for Arak, right? The one that makes the temporary units no longer cost gas.
Yes, that one mainly.
And I do believe I got the other Greater Spire upgrade eventually. I just forgot to notice when it was. Like I said, this mutation is very hectic. There are so many things happening all at once that you can't keep track of all of them. So there are probably a lot of stuff that some guys will notice when they watch the replay. But did you notice anything that I wasn't paying attention to during the replay?
Really, I think you let some area that hit you for a while, but then you dealt with it with the bailing drop, so it was fine in the end.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add before I end the video?
I don't think so. It was overall a solid game.
All right. It was good enough to earn me a solid. I don't think I'll ever be a good player with the amount of time I actually have to play and the amount of multitasking I have to do, especially with the fact that I have ADHD. I tend to hyper focus on what I'm doing at the moment and forget all the other things that I had to multitask while games are going on. So I'll take that, and I'll take that as a win. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for what else you do, please leave that comment. I'll see you guys next time.